Not everyone feels a natural pull toward being out, visible, and socially active. When invitations appear, you may notice a quiet pause rather than excitement. It's not fear, it's not disinterest in people, it's a subtle sense that being home feels more aligned. While others talk about weekends as something to escape from, you often experience home as a place where your mind settles. Few people talk about this, but many carry it silently. You might have learned to explain yourself, or downplay it, or say you're just tired. Most people don't realize how normal this is. Some people orient inward by default, finding clarity, calm, and emotional steadiness away from constant interaction, without pressure, apology, or hidden self-doubt today. At some point, enjoying home may have started to feel like something you needed to justify. Maybe you noticed the raised eyebrows, the jokes, the quiet comparisons, so a small doubt formed. Am I avoiding life? Am I falling behind? But that doubt didn't come from inside you. It came from contrast. In a culture that praises movement and visibility, stillness can look suspicious. Yet comfort at home is not a failure of ambition or courage. It's often a sign of emotional self-sufficiency. You're not waiting to be distracted from yourself. You're at ease with your own thoughts. Most people don't realize how much energy constant engagement demands. Feeling restored at home isn't withdrawal, it's relief. And relief doesn't need to be earned or explained by anyone else, ever. Some minds naturally register more from their surroundings. Sounds linger longer. Conversations echo after they end. Emotional shifts in a room are noticed without effort. This doesn't mean sensitivity in a fragile sense. It means your attention is wide and receptive. When stimulation piles up, your system works harder to stay balanced. Home reduces that load. Familiar walls, predictable sounds, chosen silence. Your mind doesn't have to filter as much, so it can settle. Few people talk about how regulation works differently across individuals. For some, calm comes through movement and interaction. For others, calm arrives through reduction. Less input creates more clarity. At home, your thoughts arrange themselves instead of competing. Your emotions feel proportionate rather than crowded. This isn't avoidance of stimulation. It's preference for a pace that allows integration. When your environment matches your processing style, you don't feel dull or inactive. You feel coherent. And coherence is a psychological state many people rarely experience. Value reframing. Home as a place of psychological alignment. Staying home is often described as opting out, but for you, it can feel like opting in. In your own space, choices belong to you. Time moves at your rhythm. Attention isn't pulled outward by expectations or performance. That autonomy matters more than it's given credit for. When you're home, you're not shrinking your life, you're narrowing it to what feels true. Thoughts have room to deepen instead of skimming the surface. Emotions clarify without needing to be managed for others. Most people don't realize how intentional this can be. Choosing home can be a way of honoring inner signals rather than ignoring them. It reflects a trust in your internal compass. Not everyone needs constant input to feel alive. Some people feel most themselves when nothing is demanding them. Home becomes a place where alignment replaces noise and being feels complete without explanation. To you, alone, quietly, without resistance. Modern culture tends to reward what can be seen. Being out, being busy, being socially present reads as engagement, even when it's exhausting. Quieter orientations don't translate as easily. When you prefer home, others may assume something is wrong or missing. That misunderstanding can create distance, especially when explanations feel inadequate. Few people talk about how hard it is to describe an internal preference in a world that measures value outwardly. You might sense that your reasons are dismissed before they're understood. Over time, that can lead to self-doubt. But the disconnect isn't personal, it's cultural. Visibility has become a shortcut for worth. When your fulfillment happens privately, it challenges that shortcut. Trusting your own experience in that environment takes quiet confidence. Feeling misunderstood doesn't mean you're unclear. It often means your orientation doesn't fit the loudest story being told. Loving home isn't a fixed trait carved in stone. Like most preferences, it responds to seasons.
There are times when home feels nourishing and times when it simply feels familiar. Both can exist without alarm. Emotional states, recent stress, or life transitions can quietly tilt the balance, not as a problem, but as information. Awareness matters more than labels. Enjoying home doesn't mean every moment inside is restorative, just as enjoying people doesn't make every gathering fulfilling. Few people mention this middle ground. You're allowed to notice changes without correcting them. Preference can be fluid without being wrong. What matters is whether your choice feels regulating or draining right now. You're not the only one who finds comfort, clarity, and energy in being home. Many people share this rhythm quietly, seldom mentioning it aloud, creating a subtle but real community. Recognizing this doesn't need applause or explanation, it simply exists, and knowing it can ease the sense of being out of step with the world. If this perspective resonates, you might find yourself curious about similar experiences, and in that curiosity, a quiet belonging begins, soft, unspoken, and entirely your own. Today.